Good afternoon, evening, good evening. I'm George Herbert, Chief Forecaster, here with Weather Now Kentucky. And we do have an update for you regarding some stronger storms expected tomorrow. Again, nothing too crazy. It's been kind of the same thing, but a little bit more activity tomorrow than expected. So we do have an alert day out for your Thursday. We've already posted the forecast and information, but I wanted to go live with an update. Of course, a couple little changes are to be made as always. But again, I want to go live with a little bit of an update, just kind of talk you through what to expect tomorrow. Not only tomorrow, but a little bit more about maybe the weekend as well. Again, a bit more activity over the next 48 to 72 hours than what we've seen over the last, couple of weeks. Now, some people have seen several storms over the last couple of weeks. You've just gotten lucky or unlucky, depending upon how you want to view it. But for the most part, most of the state, over 70% of the state, hasn't seen a whole lot of anything. So for some of you, this is going to feel very redundant. For some of you, it's going to feel like a breath of fresh air is heading on the way for the next couple of days. Um, by the way, real quickly, before I go into everything, just want to say, of course, make sure you share the broadcast. You guys know how that stuff goes. I know it's been a while, but you still know how we do things. If you wouldn't mind, tap the share button at the bottom portion of your screen. Share this video on your news feed so that your friends and family can view it if you're over there on Facebook. We are live on YouTube as well. We are not live on X tonight. Now, I also want to ask, is the video lagging for anybody? Is there any type of lag going on? Again, we're using a newer platform that we haven't really used a whole lot. And then it is giving me kind of a yellow error, so I want to just make sure it's not really lagging for anyone. Just wanted to make sure we're still good to go. Make sure it still looks good and you guys can hear me okay. Everything's looking great. And then we'll dive into the information. We're going to show you the model data, our forecast, the latest forecast from the SPC, all that good stuff. Okay, perfect, perfect. Nikki, hello. Chelsea, hello. Caitlin, how are you? Mason, what's going on, my man? Christy, hello. Joel, hello. Jessica, hello. Oh my goodness. Okay, sounds great. Seems fine. Good to go. Good, good. Okay, good. Because we're using a newer platform, and I'm kind of testing it out while it's we have some slower weather. Allows us to go. It allows us to go to multiple platforms. So I wanted to make sure everything's working okay with it and it's looking good. I know I don't look very good. I need a haircut, but that's coming tomorrow. So tomorrow night when we go live. I'll promise I'll look a little bit better. I won't look like a homeless dude. Video's good. Forehead extra shiny. Thank you. Thank you. I've been working on that. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Okay, pulling up our main screen here. Actually, let's go ahead and check our radar out real quick. We do have some activity just to kind of touch base on. This is not what the video is for, but just to touch base on here. We do have some activity that's occurring out here towards central Kentucky, between just south of Lexington there, over there toward Hodgeville. You can tell it's all moving east. Lots of lightning involved with this, as is always the case. But remember, folks, I make this reminder every so often that loud does not equal severe. Of course, if you hear lightning, does not always mean it's severe, but of course, remain indoors. Don't go out and dancing in the lightning. I've seen a lot of people bolting in the middle of lightning lately. Very, very risky stuff. Don't do that. Also, but there's a freaking tsunami earlier today in what was it, Alaska? What there was going on? Yeah, last night was loud. About 2:30 in the morning. I got slammed awake out of nowhere. Kind of caught me off guard too. Up there in southern Indiana, some strong thunderstorms happening as well, moving southeast. Those again might move into our area overnight once more, but don't really expect a whole lot of activity from that. Uh-oh. Looks like Barstown's getting a good little storm. Is that, I'm only checking on this because we do the forecasting for Stephen Foster's story. So, just making sure. They've gotten pretty lucky lately. And let me give him a text real quick. I'm sure he's already seeing it, but I just want to tell Johnny real quick that's a very small baby storm, mainly to your south, may clip you, be gone in 5 to 10 minutes. And that's the case with a lot of these today. Tomorrow and Friday will be a little bit different. We'll have a bit more activity, but today some small storms that are happening. So again, nothing really too bad happening right now. As for our SPC forecast that we want to look at with you guys, as for tomorrow, it has pretty much everyone in Kentucky in a 1 out of 5 risk. I really would not be too shocked if a 2 out of 5 risk does get produced. I'll show you kind of where my thoughts are on that. Again, I'm going to show you the model data and stuff as well. But if a 2 out of 5 risk is introduced, I do think it would likely be somewhere along the river, probably kind of in that general area, to almost match our forecast that we made earlier today, which I'll show you again in case you did not get a chance to see that. Thank you to everyone. I see all the shares coming through. Thank you guys very much for sharing the broadcast. But a level 2 out of 5 risk may get introduced. Again, that's up to them. It's not up to me. The main risk tomorrow, they have no tornado risk there. You could argue that there might be a 2% risk come out for near the river. There's just a lot of spin happening. There's not a whole lot of energy out there. Let me clarify this. There's not a whole lot of wind energy happening, but the movement of the winds is a bit concerning. Again, don't expect a tornado outbreak or anything like that to happen tomorrow. Probably won't even see one, but I wouldn't be shocked if a 1 to 2% risk of a tornado occurring tomorrow comes out near the Ohio River. Again, that's where I think the bulk of this is. And I'll show you our forecast and I'll show you the model data and stuff as well. The main threat tomorrow, though, is, of course, damaging winds. And this is almost always the case in the summertime. It's people don't realize, because we had such an active 2023 summer and a 2024 summer, that tornadoes and even hail is pretty hard to come by in Kentucky in summertime, especially the tornadic side. Winter, fall, winter, spring is a bit more active usually, especially spring, obviously. And then over the last few years, winter has been pretty active for severe weather for us too, for different reasons. But again, pretty rare for us. So I know a lot of people have been asking, because I've been getting a lot of photos and pictures and videos and all that good stuff over the last few days, asking, "Oh my goodness, this cloud is spinning. Is this going to do anything?" It's really rarely, really rare for us in Kentucky to actually get tornadic activity. From basically July 1st on. Pretty rare in June as well, but not as rare. But July 1st and into the following spring, it's usually on the more rare side for us to get any robust tornadic activity. But you could argue there might be a 1 to 2% tornado risk out for southern Indiana, Ohio, maybe northern Kentucky tomorrow. Again, wouldn't be shocked to see one. Wouldn't be shocked if there wasn't one. So that kind of forecast for tomorrow. Okay, again, I will show you the model data and stuff as well, but I do want to touch base on the Weather Prediction Center's multi-day rain forecast. So over the next, let's say, 72 to 96 hours, they do expect a wide swath of 1 to 3 inches of rain. I know you guys can't see the key up top, so I'm going to click some for you here. This big red dot out here towards Shelbyville. And again, this won't be 100% perfect, but you kind of get the idea. 3 inches of rainfall over the next 72 to 96 hours. 3 inches over here in Elizabethtown as well. 2.5 inches down here toward Campbellsville. So you can see, just take a general overlook of this. Don't focus exactly on the primary number. But your purple and red is anywhere between 2 to 3 inches. So a wide swath of, let's call it 1 to 3 inches of rain expected for a lot of Kentucky over the next 72 to 96 hours, which is, I know, kind of ironic to say given the amount of rain that we've had so far this year, which has been historic, by the way, in a lot of points, especially for the spring. It's really hard to, almost ironic to say, hey, we kind of need some rainfall here. We do. We kind of need some rainfall. There's actually a few places in Kentucky that are now going into drought status. And you can tell because when you walk outside, and like when I walk outside in my front yard, the grass is a little bit more brown. It's a little bit more crispy, I like to call it, a little bit more crunchy. And you can just tell that the ground needs some water. So some much needed water on the way for a lot of Kentuckians over the next few days. I know it kind of sucks that's coming toward the weekend for a lot of folks, but again, we really do need it. So, all right, let's go ahead and touch base on the model data and show you exactly what's happening hour by hour here. But real quickly, you guys know we'd have to pay the bills here. So I want to make sure I give a quick shout out to our sponsors. Oh, you cannot make this up. Look at this. Hang on. Full display here. I had a teleprompter thing up here ready for me to do, and it's no longer here. So you know what? We're going to just wing it. Just wing it, because I had a full teleprompter thing there, and now it's just gone. So you know what? We're going to wing it, but it's okay because I love these guys so much. I almost know all the scripts by heart. And of course, I make the scripts anyway, so that's pretty good here. Wright Implement. Yeah, since 1936, they've been a Kentucky brand through and through. A really, really, really good brand here. They're also expanded into southern Indiana as well, with over 15 locations. John Deere equipment, Honda equipment, Steel equipment. They also have apparel there as well, and so many things, so many other things. So you really cannot go wrong shopping with Wright Implement. Also, so many deals. I'll just recommend going to follow their page because I can't even post all the deals they have. So many deals they have going on all the time there. Of course, Once Upon a Child in Elizabethtown, Kentucky. Of course, we take Samuel there quite often to get his clothes and some toys. I hope to see you guys there sometime too. Again, that's Once Upon a Child in Elizabethtown. They're also running so many deals as well that we can't post all of them, but I'm going to try to post more and more without people yelling at me. I try to get you guys as many deals as possible, but I get people to yell at me. They think everything's just an ad, but really, I'm trying to let you guys know, hey, save some money. This economy is hard out here. So anyway, we shop at Once Upon a Child all the time for Samuel. So I hope to see you there sometime. Hopefully, you join us at the Elizabethtown location and go ahead and shop there with them. Of course, Plato's Closet is right next door to Once Upon a Child in Elizabethtown. Of course, for some older ages instead of just babies and toddlers. Of course, they have, and kids, of course, they have so many clothes of all sizes. And the best part about both of those stores is it's pretty darn affordable. You can always get some pretty good stuff. They never let anything bad walk out the doors, which I really do like. So I know for me, we like to save some money. Both of those businesses are run by the same family, which is a phenomenal family that you want to support. They support us here. So I really hope you do consider shopping at Once Upon a Child and Plato's Closet in Elizabethtown. Again, right next door to each other. And they also have the Once Upon a Child over there in Outer Loop in Louisville. So again, really, really love those folks. Hope I can't say enough good words about them. If you're in or around Hardin County, Hyper Roofing is the choice for you. That's who we use. That's who we trust. And again, I tell you guys this all the time. The roof is the one thing that stands between you and Mother Nature. We've all seen that in Kentucky over the last several years. Mother Nature has taken a pretty big ramp up at us. I don't know what we did. We're taking a pretty big ramp up at us. Do not be reactive to your roof getting damaged. Be proactive about it. Make sure it has a chance to withstand some of the stronger storms. So if you're in or around Hardin County, their information is going to be, scrolling across our chats. Of course, make sure you go to their website or reach out to them. Google's pretty easy to find their contact info as well, but it's also in our chat as well, scrolling on a timer. Again, Hyper Roofing in or around Hardin County. Also, real quick before I forget to mention, they have a very special GRF warranty when it comes to winds, which is one of the only companies in Kentucky that has that. And you guys know we've seen a lot of winds lately. So again, the extra little peace of mind there from Hyper Roofing. I can't say enough good words about John and their team out there. When I had them come out here before we really committed to things with them and check our roof, I didn't feel like I was getting pushed. I didn't feel like I was getting scammed, which I think is really important to me, because I really feel like some companies take advantage of folks, and I did not feel that with Hyper Roofing. So again, thank you to them for their support, and of course, make sure you go support them as well. Finally, FBI Buildings is a bit newer to Kentucky, but they're not new to creating some of the most craziest designs and really cool things for pole barns. Oh my gosh, they do everything: residential building, commercial buildings, horse barns, anything you could think of. Again, they make all your visions come to life. FBI Buildings is again newer to Kentucky. They wanted to come with us and kind of just spread their name out and say, hey, we're here. And you can actually get a free estimate from them if you go to their website, fbibuildings.com, for any builds or repairs. They also do simple repairs and remodels. Again, a lot of storm damage from a lot of horse barns that I've seen across Kentucky over the year. Make sure you go and check them out and have them at least give you a free quote. It never hurts to look and see what someone has to offer. Again, those are our sponsors here. Thank you so much for sitting through that with us. I hope you consider supporting them. It's more than just a sponsor to me. It's people that allow us to be here for you 24/7. So hopefully you consider supporting all those brands there that are scrolling across the screen. Okay, back to the science here. Hey, for the script being lost, I feel like we pulled that off, guys. I feel like we pulled that off. Okay, let's go ahead and pull up the model data here. This is the HRR model. You can see, let's go ahead and kind of skip this on through to around lunchtime tomorrow. Pretty clear morning for your Thursday. Going through to Thursday afternoon is where that first line kind of generates around southern Indiana, northern Kentucky, near the Ohio River. And why is the camera not working? Oh my goodness. Let's try that. Is that going to work? Yes. By the way, that camera, for those of you asking, if anyone's asking, is in Elizabethtown looking over the I-64 corridor there. Okay. So I just want to get that working because that was bothering me. Push this forward about 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern Time-ish. We'll see that line kind of dip into Kentucky from the Ohio River, kind of moving south, and then eventually these will turn east. And it's that turn where things get a little bit more sticky, if you will. Again, pretty strong to severe storms. Not everyone's going to see severe weather tomorrow. Not everyone's going to see storm activity tomorrow, but most will see at least some level of storm activity for your Thursday. Advances 4 to 5 p.m. You can see that's pretty much riding just south of the I-64 corridor there, basically in the same line from Elizabethtown to Lexington, all the way out toward Mount Olivet and over there toward Maysville. Out here in Western Kentucky, maybe a bit of a gap in your activity, but don't worry, you have a line coming to your west that's going to dive to the southeast eventually. And you'll see this line kind of just try to form here all the way from southeast Kentucky to northwest Kentucky with a few gaps in between by about 6 to 7 p.m. tomorrow. And again, these might be stronger to severe storms. You can see a couple of purples showing up with these, indicating some heavier rains and perhaps a little bit of damaging winds occurring with a few of those. Advancing us 4 to 7 to 8 p.m. tomorrow, you could tell the flash flood risk is probably the number one risk in my opinion, because if you look here from Elizabethtown to Louisville, maybe out toward Litchfield, in this pretty much this heart of Kentucky here, it's been raining for several hours at this point. Now, of course, this model might not be 100% perfectly accurate, but it does indicate perhaps several periods of rainfall tomorrow. Again, talking about summertime rainfall, it's going to be incredibly heavy. So flash flooding to me is probably your number one concern tomorrow. Damaging winds would be my number two. And the damaging winds would probably be very isolated. What I mean by that, it'll be very, very localized. It won't be a widespread thing. So by about 9 to 10 p.m. tomorrow, some of these storms begin to move out, now kind of situated just to the south of the parkways there from Somerset to Bowling Green out there toward Hopkinsville, Murray. And then eventually kind of moving out of here, fading away. And then by Friday morning, we have another round of storms entering western Kentucky. You can see the time frame in the top left there, 4 a.m. Central Time, 5 a.m. Eastern Time. And now we're creating some more just rainfall along, again, just central western Kentucky in that line. And then by about Friday lunchtime, that scoots to its east as well. When it's all said and done, according to this model here, we do have pockets of 1 to maybe even look at even trying to show a 4.8 inch rainfall total. Again, this is not going to be 100% accurate. It's not going to be 100% perfect, but you kind of see the overall general look here. That in the heart of Kentucky, basically in the central portion, the middle portion of the state there, a wide swath of 1 to 3, maybe even up to 4 inches in very small places of rainfall possible, and it does create a flash flooding scenario, as we've seen several times. So you're talking about all that rainfall occurring within a 24-hour span. There's absolutely going to be a few flash flood warnings tomorrow and a handful of damaging wind profiles tomorrow. Here are the wind gusts from this model as well. Again, it's not going to be 100% perfect here, but you can see along with those lines of storms, maybe up to 45, 50 mile per hour winds. And again, always little clusters of winds here could be a little bit stronger. You see a nice little bow out right there from that wind gust. Again, around 7 to 8 p.m. So just some isolated, small but powerful winds that could cause a few minor damages throughout the state tomorrow. Nothing overwhelmingly severe for Kentucky tomorrow, but again, just enough to cause some issues. Okay, so here is our forecast here. I showed you the SPC's forecast earlier. I showed you the model data, so we timed it out for you here. Here's our forecast that we made all the way back at 10 a.m. this morning. I haven't changed it yet. I don't think I will be changing it. You could argue that I could just throw pretty much all of Kentucky in the 1 out of 5 risk, and you could absolutely do that. But I think I try to make these forecasts as conservative as possible. I try to make it to where I'm not just throwing everyone in the same color, just throwing everyone in a risk, freaking everybody out. You know, could there be a couple of severe warnings in that white zone? Yes, there could be a couple of severe warnings in that white zone, okay? But I feel like the bulk or the peak in activity, if you will be in the orange zones. Again, with a darker orange, I think you could argue it being a 2 out of 5 risk because of the timing, the start of the turn of the winds there. Again, I think you could very easily argue a 2 out of 5 risk could be deserved for right along the Ohio River going into southern Indiana tomorrow. That pale orange zone is also included in a small severe risk for us. Again, the primary, I'll kind of read it out to you here from the key messages. A line of storms will drop from our north and move south. Much of this line will be non-severe but strong. There will likely be a handful of severe warnings for wind gusts up to 65 mile per hour. Brief flash flooding and isolated wind gusts up to 65 mile per hour may be possible with the storm risk Thursday. I do have a 1% tornado risk in the dark orange zone. And again, my main reason for having that is because the turning of winds is so strong. Not necessarily the wind energy itself. There's really not any of that. But we've seen time and time again, we can get a couple of quick spin-ups from just the turning of the winds. Not even just the wind energy itself, but just the turning of the winds. Again, I don't think we're going to see, a tornado outbreak or multiple tornadoes tomorrow or anything super crazy or anything off the walls here. But again, we could see a handful of severe warnings, and I would not be surprised to see 1 or 2 quick spin-ups. There would not be anything strong. It would not be anything life-threatening unless you're just out dancing in it and happen to get hit by something, which that's on you at that point. But again, I think we're mainly looking at a small event tomorrow, but the main threat to me is damaging winds and flash flooding. And that flash flooding could lead into Friday morning as well. Of course, we'll update you tomorrow on how Friday is looking. But that's where we're at right now. I'll get to a few questions, but I'm not going to answer every single small town here because again, it's not a huge, massive event. Not everyone's going to see storm activity. As you saw on the model data there were a lot of gaps in the line. So some people may unfortunately miss out on the rainfall tomorrow. And yes, I say unfortunately because almost all of you, whether you want it or not, need rain. So let's go ahead and look at a few of the comments here. Tabitha says, I need rain in Litchfield, not a sprinkle either. I'm talking real, yeah. Dude, it sprinkled here for like 3 seconds earlier today, and I was like, man, we really needed that rainfall. But I'm glad we didn't today because we had the concrete poured for the building. Watching from Henderson County, thank you, Sonia. No, there is no severe weather right now, Wanda. Tabitha, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah, there are some, wind gusts going up to, 35 to 50 mile per hour today, but nothing too severe. FBI Buildings has several offices here in Kentucky. They can definitely help you out. Just go to FBIbuildings.com and you can get a free estimate from those folks. Last time I had a pier out of 3 trees in my yard. I still got one that needs to come down, praying it doesn't hit my house. Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of people that have that kind of same story. Sierra, no, but I would just have somewhere on standby. The storms were very loud earlier this morning. Yes, it woke me up. I was just drifting off to sleep because I could not sleep last night for whatever reason. But I was just drifting off to sleep, and then all of a sudden, just a massive bang, and I'm like, whoa, where did that come from? Would the rain cool it off some? It absolutely would, Haley. No, I do not project any major flooding like we've seen in Texas or North Carolina or any of the other states. It won't be anything like that, folks. But we could see some isolated pockets of some flash flooding. But again, I hope you guys learned the lesson from those folks in those states. Stay off the roads whenever a flash flood warning is issued because, one, it can happen a lot faster than you think. Water can overtake a roadway in less than a minute. So it can happen. It can happen very fast. And a lot of folks don't realize how powerful flooding waters are. They will move your Kia Sorento. They will move your little Toyota Corolla. They will move your car. I've seen them move big 4x4 trucks with only 6 inches of water on the road. So again, please adhere to the flash flood warnings. We've seen so many tragedies over the last, month, and then dating back to our flooding events back in February and March. So many tragedies this year when it comes to flooding and flash flooding. Nothing abnormal, but I feel like I think people are getting warning fatigue because we're putting out all these warnings, we're putting out all these forecasts, special weather statements, which I think are completely unnecessary. But that's a discussion for another day. I don't want to piss anybody off, but I think people are getting warning fatigue and they're not listening to some of these warnings because we're putting out so many warnings, watches, discussions, everything. And in a day and age where there's so many people that are online, forecasting and broadcasting these things, I think people are tired. They don't listen, and then the one time they don't listen, they go outside, and we've seen so many lives lost this year from flash flooding. It's just been crazy. Yeah, even wind can cause damage. Yeah, absolutely, Buffy. So, again, I don't expect an overwhelming event tomorrow, folks, but there will be a handful of warnings for probably severe winds up to 60, 65 mile per hour, and there will be a few flash flood warnings, in my opinion, as well, especially by Thursday evening, again, where we see the bulk of the rainfall starting to pile up for a lot of folks. Turn around, don't drown. It's very important, even if it's just a few inches of water. Exactly. Floodwaters are very, very powerful because you gotta think it's gravity. They're trying to make their way back to the lowest point. Now, a lot of your roads are built, kind of like this bottle where the road's setting up at the top, lowest points are on the sides, so they're moving. They're moving very quickly. And people just don't realize that. Are there any fronts coming that will cool us down? We'll get some very brief breaks from some of the hottest weather. But again, I don't see it. I don't see it. I briefly saw one, last week that we posted about, and it did cool down for a couple of days here in terms of temperature, but the humidity just rocketed right back up, and it didn't really matter that the temperature cooled down. Like I think the temperature yesterday only got to like 84 degrees here in Elizabethtown, but it didn't matter because the dew point was 70 something, so it just felt disgusting anyway. So. No real breaks coming up, in my opinion. We don't usually see any breaks until September, October, especially by November. But heck, I've seen 90-degree temperatures all the way into November. So I mean, just hold on, guys. Just hold on. All right, that's gonna do it for us here I got to a few of your questions. I want to go ahead and get to some of the new data that's coming in now. We'll have a post out later on tonight, of course, to keep you guys updated. But again, no, the storms that you're seeing now, folks, they are not severe. They're just very loud. And remember that loud does not equal severe. The severe weather that is possible is actually going to occur tomorrow. So again, keep that in mind. I'm George Hartwig, Chief Forecaster here with Weather Now Kentucky. Thank you so much for tuning into our broadcast. And again, until next time, stay safe, folks.